How to create a finance tracker in Notion. Today I'm creating a finance tracker in Notion. Make sure to watch until the end so you don't make any mistakes. Okay, so the very first step is to log into your Notion account. If you don't have one already, you can easily create it with your email or Google account for free. We'll be starting from scratch today, so from the home page over here, we're going to create a blank page. So to do that, I am going to click on the create a new page icon over here on the left bar menu. I'm going to be giving it a title, so I am just going to say finance tracker to basically stay on theme. When you hover your mouse above your heading, what you will see is this option for add icon. Click on that, and now I will just search for money and give my page a relevant emoji to spice things up. Similarly, I am going to click on the add a cover option over here, and I am going to be selecting a cover that goes well with my theme. So when you click on that, Notion automatically gives you a random cover, but you're going to hover your mouse over to the right corner and you're going to click on change cover. Here you'll have multiple options that you can choose from. So for me, I am going to go to Unsplash, and here I'm going to search for money. Once I find a cover picture that I like, I'm just going to click on it, and as you can see, it will be set as my cover picture. Now that we've named our page, added an emoji as well as a cover, we're going to be clicking on these three dots over here on the top right corner of our page. And here, we're going to make this a small text and full width. So this will allow us to have more space in our finance tracker. Once that's done, you're going to come here. And what you want to do is you're going to do /database. And you're going to be selecting the second option here, full page. So this first database we just created will be for our income and expenses. So I'm just going to come here and name this accordingly. And from here, we're going to start by adding a column for the type of expense. So to do that, we're just going to click on tax. Tax is here by default, and we're going to remove this and just type in type. Then you're going to click on edit property. Here underneath options, click on the plus icon to add an option. And the first option for us will be income. When you click on this, you're going to be able to also change the color of your option. This is optional, but I like to use green for my income. And here we're going to click on this plus icon to add another option, which will be expense. Okay, now that this part is done, we're going to add a new column for our transaction date. Click on this plus icon over here, and we're going to search for date. Here, you don't have to do anything else. All you have to do is to set this column to be on date. And lastly, we're going to be adding another column for income amount. And for that, you're going to be selecting number. You can later edit this and name it to be income amount, so you know what this column is exactly for. From there, you're going to go to number format and make sure that it is set on the correct currency. So for me, it will be US dollars, but you have a bunch of other currencies that you can choose from. Okay, now that we have all our columns ready, we're going to name this table to income. So to do that, you're going to click on table, click on rename. On the right, you're going to add this a view name. I'm going to call this income. Then we'll configure the filters. So to do that, you're going to click on this filter icon over here. Then you're going to say type, and you're going to set this on income. And now that we have our filter on income, we're going to come to sort, and we're going to sort this from descending order. So now that we have our income view ready, we're going to be adding another view for our expenses. To make this easier, we'll duplicate this view and later rename it to expense. So here I'm going to click on it. This is the duplicated version of income, and I'm going to click on rename, and I'll be renaming it to expense. So I am going to be duplicating this property income amount, and now I am going to be renaming this to expense amount like that. And I'm going to come here and I'm just going to hide this view for my expense, as income amount doesn't make sense. And I'll go back to my income table, and here I am going to be hiding my expense amount. Now going back to the expense table, I am going to be going to the filters, and I'm going to change the amount to be set on expense instead of income. Let me now quickly add a few example entries to see how it looks like. In the income view, I'm basically adding a few rows with different income types, dates, and amounts. Okay, now that this part is done and my income table is filled with a couple of examples, I'm going to be switching to my expense view. And here I'll do the same. I'll add examples with different expenses, different expense types, dates, and amount. So now that we've added examples to both tables for income and expenses, we're going to be setting up expense categories to better organize our expenses. So to do that, we're going to go back to our general finance tracker page over here, and we will add a new table for categories. So again, I am going to write /database, and I'm going to select full page as my database. Here, I'm going to start off by renaming the table to categories. And I'll continue with entering in a couple of example expense categories a lot of us can relate to and sharing comments such as rent, utilities, groceries, food out, shopping, and education. Of course, these are just examples. Fill this in according to your actual expenses. So now I'll be deleting the tax category as we won't be needing it for this table, and I'll add a new property for relation. So here I'm just going to write in relation. So we're adding this new relation property basically to link this categories table with the income and expenses table that we just created. So I'm just clicking on that. I'm going to say show on income and expenses. So just click on this toggle, and you're going to be clicking on add relation, just like that. And now we're going to add another column for roll up. So I'm clicking on this plus icon over here. Here I'm typing in roll up. Now I will rename this to expense amount. For the relation, you're going to select income and expenses, and property will be expense amount. And for calculate, you're going to go to more options and you're going to select sum. Okay, now let's head back to our income and expenses table to see how it works there. So first, I'm going to start off by unhiding the categories. So you're going to click on the three dots over here, and hidden in table section, you're going to see categories. So you're going to click on this eye icon, and now it will be visible over here. So for example, for the second expense, which is both meat, it is in the category groceries. So you're going to click on groceries. It will appear right here. And monthly French courses, for example, would be education. You're going to set that on education. And let's now go back to our categories table to see how it looks like there. So now, as you can see, groceries is in $10 and education is in $100. So now to visualize the summary over here better, you're going to click on the three dots icon again over here, and you're going to create a new view basically. So we're going to be naming this new view expense by category. Then you're going to go to layout. You're going to be selecting gallery as your layout. So card preview will be none. Card size, I like to keep it in medium. I'm going to say side peek for open pages. And now that my layout is nicely settled, I am going back. So here I am going to go to properties. In the hidden gallery section, I'm going to unhide expense amount. So I'm just clicking on this eye icon over here. Okay, so now that this looks way better, I am going to add a filter to only show categories where the expense amount is bigger than 0 for a cleaner look. So to do that, I am going to click on filter. I'm going to click on expense amount. bigger than 0. Now we will create a database to track our savings. So I'm going to my main page over here and I'm going to follow the same steps. To create a new table, I am going to click on database full page and I will start off by naming this to savings. So now I'm deleting the tax column and I'm going to be adding a new column for date and another column for number for the savings amount. So again, I'm going to number format and I am going to be selecting US dollars again. So now that I've added some examples, we will work on our final database before pulling everything together. So I am going back to my general finance tracker and I am going to add another database, which will be our final for our goals and wish lists. So I'm again doing /database full page and I am starting by naming this to goals and wish list. So let me start off by again quickly adding some examples. Now I'm going to continue by changing the text to type and I'm going to click on edit property and I'll add 2 options. So I click on add an option and my first one will be monthly savings and the second one will be one-off purchase. One cool thing that you can do is you can click to one of your goals or one of your wish list items over here, click on open, and you can add a cover photo to it. So what you can do is you can click on change cover. You can upload from your desktop or from your computer, or you can select one of the pictures over here that goes well with the item on your list. Okay, now that I have nice cover photos, I am going back to my table and I'm gonna add an extra column for dates and I'm gonna rename this to started saving. So let me now fill this in accordingly. Now let's make a link with the savings database so we can track our savings progress for our goals in our savings table. So now I'm back in the saving overview and here let's add a new relation. So now I'm creating a new relation with my goals and wish list table over here and I'll rename this to saved words. And now I'm going to click on show on goals and wish lists. And here I'm going to type in savings and then click on add relation. We can link our goals to our saving entries just like this. Now that these are linked, let's head back to our goals and wish list database. And here we can basically hide savings as we won't be really needing it here. So I'm just going to click on hide in view. And then I will add a new column for number and I'm going to rename this to goal amount. Again, going to number format and setting this on US dollars. I'm just going to add some example goal amounts. Okay, now that we have a goal amount, we're going to add a formula column which will calculate our savings progress. So I'm going to be starting off by renaming my formula column to savings progress. And I'm going to click on formula edit. And here I'm going to be writing down my formula. So I'll speed up this process for you, but you can take this formula as a reference and copy paste the exact formula that I'll be typing in right now. Next, let's add one more gallery view to our goals and wish list. So I'm going to click on this plus icon over here, and this view will basically show our current monthly savings progress. I'm going to call this monthly savings progress, and I'm going to click on gallery view. So for card preview, I am going to be selecting page cover. For card size, I'm going to select small. So here we want to unhide the saving progress. So I'm just going to click on this eye icon. Now I'll see the percentage of my goal and how close I am to reaching it. Then I'm going to go to filters and I am going to filter this on this current month. So once that's done, we're going to go back to our main finance tracker page, and it's time to organize everything in a nice way. So for the customization part, you can leave it as it is or make simple adjustments so it looks better and you enjoy looking at your finance tracker. One easy way would be to basically start with a code. So when you click on this plus icon, you'll see multiple things from basic blogs to pages to dividers. I'm going to start off by adding a quote. So I have this quote that I really like, and I'm going to customize this a tiny bit further. So when you select a sentence, you will have this kind of toolbar on the top. You have the option to italicize it, change the color of this, or even add a background to it. So this will be at the top of my page, and it will be there for purely for motivational purposes. So I'm clicking on the dots here and I'm kind of like moving it over here like that. So now I am gonna add a navigation section, and I'm gonna turn this into a toggle list. So just like that. Let me kind of customize this a bit further. Moved all my tables underneath this toggle for navigation. So if I close it, it will be closed over here. And if I open it, everything will be accessible. So I'm going to start off by kind of making this smaller. I'm going to make this toggle heading 3, so it will make this smaller. I'm going to bulk select it too, and then I'm going to say turn into columns, so it will separate them out like this. Now I'll be moving it to the right side like that, and here you will see this line. If you kind of like pull it to the right, it will move the navigation bar to the right side. So just like that, you can then kind of play around with where your navigation bar is being displayed. So I'm going to keep it as that, and I'm going to kind of further adjust it to my liking. Then I'm going to add a little divider over here. So when you click on the plus icon, you will see this divider option. So it will visually divide blocks like that. And I am going to start off by separating my topics. So I'm going to start off by income and expenses. So here I'm just going to write income and expenses. Now I will kind of change the background of this to just add a bit of visuals, and I think I'm going to make this blue. You also have the option to kind of make this a full block just like that, make it bold, italic, it's really up to you. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to have a section for reminders. So I'm going to turn this into a toggle, but I want this section to be kind of in 2 columns. So one is right here and the other will be over here. And here what you can do is basically you can add reminders that you can find in our dedicated pages. So I am going to add a little to-do list, like this checkbox over here, and I'm going to say pay rent, just like a couple of reminders. And again, when you kind of hide it, it will be just like covered under reminders. I always personally like to add a calculator to my finance tracker. So I am just writing calculator, and then I'm going to turn this into a toggle list as well. So I'm just saying toggle list, and here I already have like a little widget that I love to use. I'm going to be using that, and I'm just going to click on create embed. You can use the same link and use my calculator as well. This one I find it to be super cool, so it's going to be staying there. So on the right side, right over here, I am going to make a toggle called daily transactions. This section will include our income and expenses table views we made earlier. So let's add in the expense view. You're going to click on income and expenses like that. And here you're going to click on plus, and you're going to select income and expenses like that, and there you have it. You have both your incomes and expenses here as well. So to basically continue with the rest of your categories from savings to goals and wish lists, you can continue to do the same thing. Play around with the design and find a way that works for you. This was just an example, but you can continue to do the same thing until you have your desired outcome.